all of you. CA Dipti Chheda here. How is your preparation going on for direct taxation and GST? Today we are here to discuss all the amendments of GST applicable for May 23 or June 2023 exam. Now, as we begin, those who have taken the lectures of direct taxation and GST last year, tax amendment 2 videos are already uploaded in the YouTube, and related PDF is there in the concept classes app also, the link of which is there in the description, and the Telegram. This also is the first amendment video for GST, covering up your chapters from chapter number 1 to chapter number 4. GST, it's just not discussing the amendments. It's very important to tell you what was it. For example, a small amendment is there in the postal services and exemption. What was it? Now this is, and so this is the effect, because based on that, they are going to give you the problems or the case studies. Okay. So very slowly, all the details are given. I'll make you write. So I'm assuming that as you are watching this video, you all have taken the hard copy printout of all the amendment lectures. For direct taxes lecture 2, I got some messages you want more detail 206 CA and all. Definitely keep checking that playlist. Subscribe to the channel. Surely I'll come up with direct tax amendment lecture 3 also. This is the first lecture for GST. The second lecture will cover up all your amendments for ITC, payment, returns, and due dates. The reason of dividing this into two is, sure, dear students, as we have already made the marathon lectures, I hope you're watching the marathon lectures also for direct taxes, for all this, for costing, and even if you just click the tax playlist, five minutes videos I have made to clarify the concept where students are doing mistake. If it is STT and students don't know the treatment, I have made a video. If it is capital gain, how to give 2 exemptions, small video. So in the tax concept, surely you will find the videos which you can refer and make notes. You need not watch it again. But the purpose of dividing this GST marathon amendment video in 2 parts is, today you will understand it. But to digest it, we are making you learn something. Now we are saying, no, this is change. So definitely to digest it, understanding is fine. You all are doing good. If you have watched the live playlist, I've just uploaded day 1 to day 12, all the live lectures of our new tax batch, which has started. If you see the tax playlist, basics of tax for CMA inter and CA inter, you will get it. So your understanding is good, you all are following. But then GST amendments to retain and to recollect and produce in the exam, you will have to watch this lecture 2-3 times. Sometimes by just putting the headphones, watch it orally as you are walking or doing some work. Sometimes just sit and make your own notes. Okay. If you expect all the flowcharts and notes also, I should give all this, it will not help you in the final exam, dear students. When you make your own notes, you learn it. That's why that much spoon feeding we cannot do. Still, while watching my video, if you have any doubt anywhere, please comment below. I will surely clear it. You can get in touch with us through our Telegram group. Just click the photo for whatever doubt it is. Accounts, income tax, costing, these are my core areas. Since last 21 years, I've been teaching. So surely, whatever way I can help you and put a voice note or link up and teach, and so that you follow clearly, I would be glad to do that. Okay? Chalo. So let us start this GST amendment lectures for May 23, June 23 exam. And this is covering up all your latest amendments, circulars applicable till your exam. Okay? So October to now, this all before your exam, 3 months before your exam, tak jo bhi amendments aa gaye, all have been included, except if some last moment more examples are coming in the RTP. Surely you can just see the YouTube. I have made, every time I'm making a video on all the RTPs and MTPs discussion. So in that video, you can get it. Okay, that's why I'm saying subscribe to the channel. You will never feel you have wasted time, 5 minutes also, by watching the videos, whether it is concept clarity video, whether it is motivation or whether it is amendment. Thank you for listening to all these instructions also so well. Let us begin now, hoping that you have taken a printout of this material. These all are base level details. Yes. So the first chapter is simple. What is GST and advantages and disadvantages of the indirect taxes, and how the IGST, CGST set off can be done. So in the first chapter, it's like just a base introduction. So there is only one amendment, and that amendment is related to GST compensation cess. One second. Yeah. GST compensation cess. Now we all know GST as a tax, but along with tax, there were some sin goods or some luxury goods, cigarettes and aerated water, and just to give some examples, some higher end cars on which the government was also levying, along with GST compensation cess. So when they started the GST, they said it will be there till some years and then they will remove and so on. Okay. And for frankly speaking, the purpose of collecting the GST compensation says this money was all going to central government and they were reimbursing the state government. When state government, they converted themselves from VAT to GST, they had huge losses. कि जो VAT set off होना है वो तो नहीं होगा. So to compensate that, the central government was compensating them by collecting this additional, you know how we say in direct taxes, oh, you are earning above 50 lakhs, you can pay surcharge. You all remember? Above 50 lakhs, you are earning very good, pay surcharge. Acha, you are earning above 1 crore, pay higher surcharge. So like that on luxury goods, along with GST, this goods compensation, GST compensation cess is charged, which is not discontinued, it's going to continue. But no benefit of this GST cess will now go to state government. Central government is saying in the COVID times also we have reimbursed the state. Now whatever GST compensation cess we get, we have taken loan from people, we will repay that and we will use this money, but now we will not reimburse the state. So let us read what it says. Levy of GST has been extended by GST Council till March 26. They will collect GST. However, during this period, central government is under no obligation to give any compensation to states. They have collected compensation cess so that whatever the benefit they are transferring to all the states, they can set off by this extra tax. हाँ GST तो CGST तो आप दे ही रहे हैं, but if you are collecting the compensation cess, they were sharing with states from this date, that is June 22 के बाद से now March 2026 तक they will collect the GST compensation cess, but they will not share anything with the states. GST compensation state, see everywhere amendment is over. But to clear the amendment, some background should be given so that you cannot directly jump from one amendment to another amendment and lecture like that. So GST compensation set at specified rate has been imposed under the Goods and Service Tax Act on luxury items like pan masalas, tobaccos, aerated waters, motor cars, etc. Okay? Clear to all of you? Ask if you have any doubt anywhere. See, those all of you who have taken the lectures last year, this will make it very clear. And those who are already watching these lectures for November 23, I'm telling you, literally, I'm telling you, promise after this June course I'm taking right now, inter batch for taxation, final batch for CMA final. Once this batch is over, I will take again full-fledged classes for the topic called as exemption. Exemption, because frankly speaking, the problems which we have solved, some of them will become redundant now. because so many amendments are there in exemptions. So I'm being very honest with all of you. And this is the way. You cannot wait last moment because there are amendment. हम ना last में lecture देखेंगे. No, dear students. You are right in taking the direct access coaching right now only, whether you are writing the exam in May 23 or November. And whatever, because you need repetition. How many of you are enjoying reading the booster notes? Huh? Running back students who are attending these amendments, you have already finished with house property and business head long back. But somehow, every time, agar just now and then, when you're doing other topics also, costing, accounts, law, jo bhi pad rahe ho, just take out 10-15 times, read the booster notes, all just notes we have written, and you have revised house property in 15 minutes. So promise I'm there with you, and more amendments before this, okay, which were there, like 2 updates have been given by the institute. For that, one more tax amendment lecture I'll prepare, which were applicable for November 22, but they're still very important. Dear students, one thing I'm telling you, we always concentrate on the latest amendment. But जो latest के एक 6 महीने पहले amendments आया ना, they are also very important. Your tax amendments for financial year 20 to 23 are important, but 21-22 also some major amendments, 194R, 194Q, again and again they will ask. So I feel those lectures also you should watch, or they are already included in the tax updated lecture. Then pay attention whenever I'm saying these are amendments. Chalo. So any doubt in the first chapter? Compensation, GST compensation says it will still be collected and no benefit now onwards will be shared to the state government. Chapter 2, supply under GST. Okay, now we all know supply related is section 7, and then we have section 8 for the bundled supply, those composite supply and mixed supply and all. So supply, we have studied 3 schedules and sections also, section 7 and all, and which says that supply includes what in the schedule 1. Schedule 2 says, okay, this is supply, but is it supply of goods or services or sometimes combined? For example, when I'm going for hair coloring, they are giving service of hair coloring, but then they are selling me that branded hair color also. That bottle is only of 1,000 rupees. But then clarified that this is included in services. Hair color is a service and charge it on, take it as supply of service. So like that, schedule 1 talks about whether this is supply or not. Schedule 2 talks about whether this supply is goods or service. I have written 1, 2, 3. Actually, they are given Roman men. And schedule 3 is talking about negative list, that these are not taken as supply, right? So here there are some clarifications which are given, okay, this year, and lot of debate is there for that. So lot of clarifications are given by the department for the definition of supply, with some important cases which I feel if you mark from here they can give you as 1 or 2 marks. Case study based question. You know what is case study based question? They'll say aisa hai, C ne A ko aisa kiya, and is this a supply or not, is this taxable or not? Right. I want to explain this concept in just 2 minutes. Frankly speaking, the coming 15 minutes are like law, but it's a part of the GST supply amendments, and definitely I will teach it with all the examples. Pay attention. Now, what it says, whenever two people are entering into a contract, they have an agreement wherein both the parties need to fulfill something. If there is a breach of contract by any of the parties, they need to compensate the other party. Okay? I have made a contract that I'm going to supply you 100 books by this date. Just a random example I'm taking. If I don't supply, then I have to pay damages because I did not fulfill the contract. If I supply, I have given in the agreement that the day I supply, within 3 days, you should pay me the money. You didn't pay the money till 30 days. Now these are the damages penalty. So like this, both the parties of the contract have obligations. Okay. And if these are not fulfilled, damages are to be paid. Now, coming 15 minutes is full-fledged debate whether on these damages GST should be levied or not. Because when we are entering into a contract, it could be for like the terms used, Abhi, I will read out, for tolerating the act and this and that. Then if we are not fulfilling the promise, we are paying what? Damages. So on that damages, GST should be levied or not. So the department has given two very beautiful terms. They said whenever you are confused, no, put a 2-point checklist. First is, was there a clear cut contract about these damages or these conditions happening? And is there a remuneration coming for the contract or not? If these two conditions are fulfilled, take it as GST applicable and apply GST. Okay? Please don't get confused. I told you, you will have to read it 2-3 times. The material, listen to this lecture patiently for 2-3 times, only these 15 minutes. Exemptions wale, all the amendments are very super easy. This is little technical, not tough, but technical, to dhyan se suno. For example, when I put a check in the bank, am I putting with an intention ki dishonor hoga and then bank should charge charges and on that they should collect GST? When I'm putting a check in the bank, am I putting with the intention to dishonor? No. Honor hona chahiye and you should transfer the money and I should get the money in my bank account. Simple. So when we are putting the check in the bank, there is no predetermined agreement that check dishonor hoga और उस पे GST लगेगा. So on check dishonor charges and all, GST is not levied. Got it or not? But if there is a prior agreement between two of us, for example, I am teaching in this area. This area is A area in Hyderabad. And you, dear student, are saying, ma'am, you should just teach in Hyderabad. You should not come to Maharashtra or Chennai and teach. I said, okay, then pay me the compensation. Is it a clear-cut compensation or not? Huh? And I'm going to tolerate this, that I have to teach only in Hyderabad. And for that, you are compensating me. So on this compensation, will it be treated as supply, taxable supply? Yes. Will the GST be levied? Answer is yes. So coming is just a checklist. Ma'am, kab lagega, kab nahi lagega. I'll make it all very clear to all of you. Just read it. So what we are discussing, amendment, whether the coming all the cases are supply or not, and if they are supply, whether they are taxable or not. Chalo, let us read the first one now, dear students. Okay, it says that perquisites provided in the terms of contractual agreement to the employee not liable. Okay, sorry, this one I will leave, बाद में पढ़ेंगे, ये फिर हम topic से divert हो जाएंगे. I'm starting from this. Clarification regarding GST applicability on liquidated damages, compensation penalties arising out of breach of contract. Agreeing to obligation to refrain from an act. Okay, I will not do this. Or to tolerate an act. In front of my shop, you put another shop. Okay, just pay me the money. I'm happy. Or a situation or to do an act has been specifically declared as supply of service if the same constitutes supply within the meaning of GST. So they said in section 7(1)(a) in schedule 2. What is schedule 2? Whether this is supply of goods or service. They said this is declared as supply of service. So following conditions must be satisfied to decide ki okay, this is a supply of service and hence now taxable. What are those two conditions? Let us check it. There must be an express or implied agreement. Just 1 second, dear students. Thank you so much for waiting. Chalo, padhte hain aage. There must be an expressed or implied agreement or contract must exist. You know, what for whatever reason you are paying the compensation and breach, That should be like very clear in the contract. And the intention should be that it should happen. Such contract agreement must be an independent arrangement. Such an agreement can be taking part of independent alone or may form part of another contract. Sure. Consideration must flow in return to this contract or agreement. Some consideration must flow in the return from the other party to this contract or agreement, and the second party to the first party for such refraining, tolerating, or doing. Are you getting? So some consideration must flow and there should be a contract. Then you can say, okay, this is supply of service and it is liable for GST. There should be a clear-cut contract and some money should come. If I'm tolerating some act or if I'm refraining, okay, I will not do this. We call it as non-repatriation fees and all. Or we are going to do something. We should get monetary or somehow consideration. First one, agreeing to obligation to refrain from an act is taxable as supply of service. Agreeing to the obligation to refrain. Okay, I will not do this. Okay, I will not put up a loud music after 10 o'clock. You compensate me for this. My house is next to a school. Actually, there's a school besides. And the schools are saying, ma'am, from 10 o'clock till 3 o'clock, don't put up loud music and speakers in your classroom. I said, okay, I will not. Let us make an agreement and you compensate. Am I giving them a service? Outrightly, I'm not giving a service, but by refraining, by not doing something, am I giving them a service? Yes. Is this a supply of service? Yes. Is it taxable? Yes. I'm saying to school, okay, 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock, I won't play any loud music on my TV and all. And okay, you reimburse me for this. Few examples I've taken from this institute's material also, because usually same examples are asked in exams. So no point in twisting much. What I gave now is not there, but abhi dekho. Where one party agrees not to compete with other party in a product, service or geographical area against the consideration. Superb example. I have opened CCD over here. This is my CCD. Within 4 kilometers radius, you should not open any other CCD. For that, I am giving you compensation. Is there a contract? Yes. Is there a consideration clear cut coming from you to me? Yes. Is this liable to GST? Yes. What is this kind of supply service? I am refraining. I will say, I will not open any other CCD in this 4 kilometers. Okay? Or I will not sell the product in your area, and like that. Builder refraining from constructing more than a certain number of floors, even though is permitted, against the compensation from neighboring bungalow. Next to my bungalow, the next bungalow is demolished and huge apartment is coming. And they have got the permission to make 10 floors. I said, Arey, no, Baba, don't make 10 floors. Just make 4 floors. Because if you make till 10 floors, there won't be any sunlight coming in my house. So make it only till 4 floors. And they agreed. They said, okay, 6 floors ka permission hai, but hum nahi banayenge, to you compensate us. And I am paying them fixed amount. Is it a service? Yes. Are they refraining from doing an act? Yes. Is there a contract? Yes. Is there a consideration? Yes. I hope by repeating this, you will learn it. There must be a contract, separate or standalone or mixed. Mixed also I will tell you, case. And there should be some consideration. Next. Agreeing to the obligation to tolerate an act or a situation. Taxable as supply of service. Agreeing to, first one was what? To refrain from an act. Second one was tolerate. Tolerate ka best example I told you. That this is my store. In front of my store, on the footpath, you want to put up a shop, small shop. Okay, put it. My store is not getting that clearly seen from by the customers, but take it. if you're ready to compensate, in a way it is complementary. Mine is a bakery, and outside if you put a tea stall, people who come to drink tea, they might take a few things from the bakery. You're just making tea and coffee, no? Outside my bakery, and I'm having the curry puffs and biscuits and all samosas. So what I'm saying is, okay, I will tolerate your tea shop in front of my building. You pay me a fixed amount. Is this a supply of service? Indirectly make up the rent only. Yeah, not exactly rental agreement, but वैसे ही है. So it is taxable. A shopkeeper allowing a hawker to operate from the common pavement in front of his shop against a monthly payment. Because if the people who are having to come tea, they will come. So I'm getting business also, and the hawker is paying me a fixed amount. So I'm allowing. I don't know how many of you have seen outside the apartments. You see iron people are there, and then they say, ठीक है बाहर वालों से कितना भी लो, apartment वालों से इतना ही पैसे लेना. Like that, they do some agreements. And RWA. What is RWA? Yes, Resident Welfare Association, tolerating the use of loudspeakers from early morning prayers by school located, subject to school paying an agreed sum. Now this is reverse. Huh? Are you getting? School is saying that definitely in the schools we are using nowadays mics and all in every classroom. So I'm getting disturbed. I'm complaining. So the school is saying, please tolerate 10 to 3. We will compensate you. So it's like reverse. I will compensate them. They will compensate me. Whoever. So for tolerating an act, if there is a contract, if there is money flowing or consideration flowing, taxable. For refraining, okay, I will not do this. If there is a contract and if there is a consideration against that contract, it's a supply of service. Third one, agreeing to the obligation to do an act. That's also a kind of service. Huh? Next to my apartment is a hotel, and hotel have lots of sewage and all the other issues. Or next to my apartment is a bakery, where they manufacture breads and all, and lot of heat is coming up. So we are telling them lot of emission is there, put up chimneys, put up other energy saving devices, and they agree to it. So they are doing some act. Okay. And if there is a contract, if there is a service, is this taxable? Yes. Let us see example. This would include case where industrial unit agrees to install equipment for zero emission on behalf of RWA of neighboring residential complex against the consideration paid by the RWA. Resident Welfare Association is saying, okay, industry next to us, we will pay you money. But आप please energy saving device लगाओ ताकि आपके factory से pollution should not cause disturbance to we residents. And they agreed. Is there a contract? Yes. What is the contract saying? We, the Resident Welfare Association, the residents will give you money or the consideration, and you put up the air pollution equipment in your factory so that the air is not getting polluted. Followed, we are staying over here. So these kind of the money flowing, is it liable? Is it taxable as supply? Answer is yes. Take your time, read all the three on your own. 5 minutes, I'll also be back and then we will continue. So did you all read it? Any doubt? So under this agreeing to obligation to refrain from an act, you're not going to do this, or to tolerate an act, or do this, put up some energy saving devices or air pollution equipments in your factory. For all this, if there is an agreement and if there is a consideration flowing, then this is very well taxable as supply of service. Now, cases wherein sometimes it is taxable, sometimes it is not. Let us discuss what it is. Cases which are liable or may not be liable to GST based on these three discussions what we have done. Liquidating damages and fines. Liquidating damages, fines are paid when there is a breach of contract, as I already discussed. It is common for parties entering into contract to specify in contract itself compensation that would be payable in the case of breach of contract. Where the amount paid as liquidation damages is an amount paid only to compensate for injury, loss, or damage suffered due to breach of contract, and there is no agreement express or implied by aggrieved party receiving the damages to refrain from or tolerate or act. Okay, so liquidation damages and all, nothing is taxable because the contract was okay, I will do this, you will do this. The intention in the contract was not ki the contract should not happen, and I will demand some breach of damage charges and you will pay it. So here, this liquidation damages are merely a flow of money from party who causes the breach, because of whom breach has happened, to the party who suffers the loss. Such payment do not constitute a consideration for supply, hence it is not taxable. See, there was no intention from the beginning. That's why I've written this line. Right from the beginning, was that the intention ki okay, we are entering into contract SAE, but sure, either I will ditch or you ditch and we will charge the liquidating ऐसे थोड़ी है. In case of school and all, intention was very clear that I will not pay loud music, you pay me the money. Or the school is paying loudspeakers 10 to 3, I will tolerate and they have to pay me money. Followed or not, both ways. So when I'm paying liquidation damages, there is no intention right from the beginning that contract टूटना ही चाहिए and damages should be paid. Hence, this is not a supply and damages are just an extended flow of the money, and there was no intention from the beginning, hence not taxable. Check dishonor. Check dishonor, fine, penalty. This I have already discussed. Penalty that supplier or banker imposes for dishonor. You know, whenever there's a check dishonor, I have deposited the check, but if other party ke paas balance nahi hai, signature is wrong, my check of 10,000 is dishonored and bank will charge me 300 rupees dishonor charges. It's a penalty imposed not for tolerating act or situation, but it's a fine. Simply fine, because time to gaya na bank ka bhi. Okay, so there is nothing like tolerating or refraining or doing, and therefore it is not a consideration for supply, and this is clear cut not taxable. Okay, right? Check dishonor, fine, penalty, not taxable. Next one, penalty imposed for violation of laws. See, they said that generally the department will say, okay, you have violated this. Now we are collecting this for violating, and on this GST will also be levied. So it is penalties which are imposed for violation of laws are not taxable as supply. And on that GST cannot be levied, whether it is traffic violation or pollutions and all. Are you getting? Whenever there is a violation of law, you have to pay penalty, okay. But on that penalty, GST is not payable. पहले से कोई agreement था कि okay, you will violate the law and then we will charge penalty. That time you pay this money. हाँ? So there was no prior agreement कि आप गलती करना और हम penalty charge करेंगे, and so on penalty, there is no GST. Forfeiture of salary or payment of bond amount in the event of employee leaving the employment before the minimum agreed period. These are very common stories in the MNC companies. When the employee is joining the organization, he has to sign a bond of 1 year, give some of his originals, and he should inform at least 3 months prior if he is leaving. Even the company should inform him 2 to 3 months, whatever may be the period before removing. If the employee wants to leave suddenly, today is say 18th of February, and I say 20th of February is last day, I won't be coming. So if I leave suddenly, there will be huge losses for the company to come, replace me and get their work done and all. So for that, the company is going to charge 3 months salary. Is it a service? ये जो money है ना? See, this money is going from the employee to the employer. Now you tell me, is this a kind of service I'm giving to the employer? No, this is just the compensation I'm giving because I'm leaving the employment before the minimum agreed period. Hence, this is not supply. Hence, this is not taxable. Clear? The provision for forfeiture of salary or recovery of bond amount in the event of employee leaving the employment before the minimum agreed period are incorporated in the employment contract to discourage non-serious candidates. See, if there is no agreement, people would join and leave, and then how many times we should keep taking interviews? The said amount are recovered by the employer, not as a consideration for tolerating act or refraining and all. It's just a penalty for disusing or non-serious employees. Further, employee does not get anything in return. He's paying the compensation, but is there anything in return? कोई consideration आ रहा है employee को या कोई benefit आ रहा है? No. Therefore, such amount recovered by the employer is not taxable as supply of service and no GST is levied. Because we are discussing employer employee, let us go right from the beginning. एक और भी करते हैं, employer employee से related है जो तब मैंने छोड़ दिया. Now I want to do, you know, employer employee relationship में whatever the salary goes from employer to employee, it's exempt, like it's not liable to GST. Okay, along with salary, is the employer giving perquisites? Oh, if you see salary chapter, perquisites, allowances, benefits in cash kind, whatever is given by employer to employee, it's because of that relationship and it is a part of the salary, and on that GST will not be levied. So this is not an amendment, this is clarification, which is saying perquisites are also the part of the salary. You know what are perquisites? Benefit given by employer to the employee in kind. RFA देते हैं, कुछ other facility देते हैं, lot of perquisites are given by the employer to employee. So along with salary, allowances and all, perquisites are also a part of the salary, and on that GST will not be levied. Except when employer is giving gift to employee. Do you remember? When the employer is giving gift to employee and if it exceeds 50,000, then on that amount GST is levied. This is as it is, no change. Now you got why did I leave it that time? Now clear or not? Employee, you are leaving the organization before time. I'm repeating. You have to pay to employer 3 months salary on this no GST. Because there is no contract कि I will pay you the compensation. Contract है, जो bond है. But it was not with the intention कि I will leave, you will charge and all that. So इस पे GST नहीं लेगा. Same way, when employer is giving salary, benefit, perquisites to employee, everything is exempt. Except if they are giving gift above 50,000. Any perquisite provided by employer to employee in term. I first explained orally, then I again revised it, and now I'm reading it. By this 3 mode, is it clear or not? And if it is super clear, message me in the comment. Do share this video with at least 5 of your friends who really believe that for one time you need to learn and understand the subject patiently. Otherwise, you don't realize now, you don't even realize till your exams are over. You realize when the results come. Why, if I studied so much, the result was not positive. That in-depth learning, that pen should flow if you learn it with these concepts. Okay? Chalo. So do share it and do comment below if this video is really clearing all your doubts. Any perquisites provided by employer to employee in terms of contractual agreement entered between the employer and employee are in lieu of the services provided by employee to the employer in relation to employment. It follows therefrom that perquisite provided by the employer to employee in the term of contractual obligation entered between employer and employee will not be subject to GST. It's not taxable, except if they give gift, that to above 50,000. So can we close this? Liquidation damages, no GST. Check dishonor, no GST. Penalties for violation of laws, no GST. employee paying to employer compensation for leaving suddenly, no GST. Late payment, surcharge or fee. Okay, right. Now this is actually we are discussing it here, but this is your chapter number 5. Chapter number 5, there is no change, dear students. Time of supply, value of supply, but it's very important chapter. So you remember in value of supply, we have seen that in supply value, if some interest and fees is charged, and if this value of supply is charged at 18%, interest and fees also is a part of the value of the supply, and on that also GST payable is 18%. Do you remember? Right? So, facility of accepting the late payments with interest or late fine is a facility granted by supplier naturally bundled. You all remember naturally bundled service? Government is saying, okay, if you pay by 10th, pay 10,000. If you pay after 10th, on 10,000, pay 10% interest. Simple. So, this is like a package. ऐसे पे करना है टाइम पे तो करो. You pay advance tax in installments, fine. If you don't pay, then pay the interest, 234A. So these are like bundled services. So whatever, first of all, is this taxable? GST is liable? Answer is yes. It is common for customers to miss the last date of payment and then pay late fee. Since it is ancillary with the principal supply, first of all, it is taxable. And most important is, it is taxable at the same rate as the principal supply. I want to repeat, it is taxable at the same rate as the principal supply. Some of you may be thinking, ma'am, value of supply may be 5%, 12%, but interest paid to GST 18% se lagna chahiye. Why? It's like principal supply. So whatever is your value of supply is chargeable at 5% or 12% or whatever rate. On the same rate, interest and penalties are also liable to GST. Any doubt? Pucho. Read it, take a pause. If you're not watching this live, then comment below. Fixed charges for power. Electricity charges is like something very basic we study in costing also. Up to a limit, even if your shop is closed, like, we have purchased the next building and we have kept it closed since last 3 months, still we are honestly getting electricity bills every month. So minimum electricity bills is fixed. Over that, based on the number of units, it is variable. So on that, no GST is charged. Electricity is not subject to GST. So no question of charging the GST on the fixed part. कि कैसे ये लिंक लगी है, डिपार्टमेंट बोलता है नहीं, आपकी डिपार्टमेंट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी डिपार्टमेंट से अग्रीमेंट थी, इवन इफ यू डोंट पे एनीथिंग, फिक्स्ड 500 per meter तो you are paying, no? There was a contract. So on that, can we charge GST? Answer is no. Electricity is not liable to GST only. ठीक है? Cancellation charges. Yes. Mark this very important example for exam. ये पूछते हैं बार बार. On cancellation of train, flight, hotel tickets, cancellation fees is payable. Okay? Facility ये taxable है. क्यों? मैम अभी आपने बोला damages, breach of contract taxable नहीं है. The facility service of allowing cancellation payment is a natural part and assessed as principal supply, hence taxable. It is taxable at the principal rate only. When you book flight tickets, they say without cancellation, it's 2,800. Hyderabad to Chennai. With cancellation, it is 3,500. So already 700 extra they are taking in the value of supply of service. Are you understanding? In the value of supply of this service, air ticket, they are already taking extra. So if I cancel the tickets, 30% they will keep. How much is 30% coming? 3,500 ka dekho. This they can make a case study and they can ask you. करके देख लेते हैं. 3,500 ka 30%. 1050 they will retain as the cancellation fees, and 2450 they will reimburse. Now the question is on 1050 GST is payable or not? Answer is yes. Even if you have booked the hotel tickets, say the flight tickets or the hotel room, and you have cancelled, but they have given you a bundled services, no? You can book, they will give you all the facility, and they will give you this add-ons, जो पूरा package है, bundle है. So in the bundle already you are paying 700 extra. In the value of supply it's included 700 extra, that if it is a refundable ticket, it will come in 3500. So if 30% they have retained because they have given you that service. By cancelling the ticket, you have not traveled. Travel ka service they have not given, but they have given you the booking tickets and parking tickets and then the cancellation. All that work to they are doing, no? So this is liable to GST. Read it, खुद से पढ़ो, 2 minutes. G वाला example, just one more and we are completed with law. इतना ही law आता है दीप्ति मैम को पढ़ाना. Generally, on cancellation of train, flight tickets, hotel accommodation, cancellation fees is payable. The facility of allowing cancellation against payment is also a natural part of the bundle and assessed as principal supply. Hence taxable, and it is taxable at the principal. Principal matlab jo main supply. If the main supply, say air travel tickets are at 12%, cancellation also at 12. If there is a 18, 18. If it is at 24, whatever it is. Okay? So on cancellation charges, see, this is very common. Function hall book karte hain 1 lakh mein. And then if you cancel, we lose other customers also. So 30%, 30,000 is retained. This 30,000, you cannot say ki 30,000, the money which is retained by function hall, they have not provided any service. So 30,000 pe GST nahi lagna chahiye because there is no supply of service. It's a service. You have booked, you have parked those dates, and you have cancelled. So they have provided you the facility of booking and cancelling. For that, they are charging 30,000. So 30,000, like these cancellation charges, are very well liable to GST. Okay, right. Next is in case of bidding. You all know what is bidding? Auctions होते हैं. Kabhi kabhi, if the bank people feel the person is not paying the EMI of the house, they seal the house and then they auction, they sell it, whoever wants to buy. So forfeiture of earnest money paid by the bidder. This is the auction company or bank, and these are bidders. You know, genuine bidders should come. कोई भी ऐसे ही fake आके price बढ़ा के जाता है, you know, they don't want to buy, but just they try to inflate. Like this, fake people should not come. So genuineness is seen by their repaying capacity. So we take some earnest money or deposit. The bidder will pay to the company, auctioneer company, deposit. Okay. Now if this bidder has won this property, 3 crore mein सौदा हो गया. If this bidder is a defaulter, can the auctioneer company seize the deposit money? Answer is yes. Is it liable to GST? No. Forfeiture of earnest money by seller in case of breach of contract by buyer, or forfeiture by government in the event of non-fulfillment of condition by successful bidder. These are cases of compensation of losses, not a part of the consideration, hence not taxable. There is no value of supply, nothing. This is the deposit. But if they don't fulfill, it's frankly speaking, this is like liquidating damages, penalties, wahi ho gaya. But outrightly, instead of taking the penalties outrightly, what I'm doing is, I'm taking, instead of taking it outrightly, I'm saying, okay, whatever earnest money you have paid, I will keep it. Is it liable to GST? No. Take a pause. We have completed one part I'm saying that whole chapter, supply. Supply, whether it is taxable or not taxable. If it is taxable, whether it is supply of goods or services. So this is all the debate. Whenever you study that chapter, watch this part. Okay? Right? Take all the notes that there are cases wherein outrightly I am refraining you for doing anything and I'm paying money, or I'm tolerating any act, or I'm asking you to act, provide me energy saving device like that. This is all liable to GST. But other than this, liquidation charges, penalties, violations of the rule, and many other cases are there which we have seen now on which GST is not charged. And 2 3 cases we also saw wherein GST is chargeable, and it is chargeable at the principal supply. जो principal supply है ना, वही rate से GST charge होगा. Clear? Right? Let us go to the next part. And it's a promise I'm telling you, exemptions, each and every amendment I've given with lot of clarity here. I've divided the exemption. This preparation of this material only took a lot of time. Of course, I've taken some example because institutes examples are being repeated as it is. Now listen, I have divided your exemptions, which we are doing now, amendment in exemption. You all know what is exemption. Exemptions are those services or those goods on which GST is not levied. Now some exemptions are like outrightly कि इस पे तो GST लगेगा ही नहीं. तो ऐसा ही example था slaughtering of animals. Now it is fully taxable. Transfer of railway equipments through railway. Earlier it was exempt, now taxable. So I've divided the amendment into 3 parts. First one is existing exemption में changes. पहले ये था, now this. What are the first exemptions we are doing? Earlier it was this. Now it is this. Or 2 3 new exemptions added. Like I can say, I'm saying orally also, और बिल्कुल हम पढ़ेंगे क्योंकि मुझे लगता है these are very important amendments. Like added on this year is national permits. You know the transport GTA, if they move their vehicles in India, वो vehicle के ऊपर पे लिखा रहता है national permit they have to go anywhere in India, and for that they have to register and pay the fees. On those fees for taking the national permit, GST is going to be levied. GST and network से whatever services you are taking, GST लगेगा. IRDAX, SEBI, whatever services you. So some existing exemption, this is the change. Some services GST is levied. Some services are outrightly removed. Healthcare wala, blood banks, where core those blood stem cells and all are saved. Now they are liable to GST. It's not exempt. Second one, biodegradable waste, which is coming out of hospitals, you know, syringes, this, that, they keep it segregated. So if this is being processed by a company that they collect the waste from all the hospitals and process that and dispose it in a proper way. So earlier this service was in the health sector, clinical establishment के अंदर exempt था, अब तो taxable है. Clinical establishment includes that if there is any inpatient, so room rent should be exempt. But now, up to rooms are not rooms. Hospital rooms are like 5-star, 7-star hotels with all the facilities inbuilt, small refrigerator, oven, TV, separate this room and that room and all. So if you are taking treatment in hospital and per day room rent is above 5,000, it's liable to GST. Huh? So definitely after the exemptions, it will make some changes in your problems also. So for problems, those who are writing, watching the video right now and writing the exam next, surely for this chapter, let us make sure no extra charges, nothing. I will teach the whole chapter again because exemptions is like that. And those who have taken but no time for that, few problems, like if I say right now, postal services से related problem है, निकाल दो, वो change हो गया पूरा. So like this, that separately I'll put the voice note in our challenges group for those who have taken the video. All right, for everyone who are watching GST amendments with me, How many amendments are done? Goods compensation cess, over. Second one, supply, over. Third, we are doing right now, that is related to exemptions. Let us begin with the fourth chapter amendment now. Oh, before that, ठीक है, चलो, we'll do exemptions and then I'll come to the chapter 3 charges I missed out. ठीक है. So now first I'm taking those exemptions which were already there, but there are some changes. And most important one is renting of residential dwelling. On this, sure, they can ask you a numerical problem also. Mark it very, very important. You all know that when commercial properties, godowns, factories, depots, they are given on rent, they are liable to GST. In income tax also we say if the rent is 1000 and GST is 180, then TDS should be deducted only on rent. I hope you remember, not on the GST part, because GST is collected and paid to government. So right now, commercial buildings which are rented out, purely they are liable to GST. Now, if you are renting residential dwelling for residential purpose, पहले ये clear कर लेते हैं. Commercial building, commercial purpose is not in the table only. Fully taxable. If you want, write down. Commercial dwelling or property for commercial purpose liable to GST. बिल्कुल taxable. Now, residential dwelling. If you have given it out for residential purpose, okay, and the service recipient is registered, then it is taxable with RCM, reverse charge mechanism. I am a sole proprietor, Mr. A. I have given my residence on rent to GK Corporation. Say it's a partnership firm या co-company, कुछ भी जो भी, for the residence of their MD. So I have given my residential property on rent to a corporation or anyone, okay, but my service recipient is registered now. GK Corporation is registered. Should they pay the tax on RCM basis? GK Corporation? Answer is yes. So in this we have covered your RCM also. Is the case clear or not? Resident dwelling given for residential purpose, recipient is registered, taxable with RCM. Resident dwelling given for commercial purpose, and if the recipient is registered, anyhow it's going to be taxable with RCM, reverse charge mechanism. Now, resident dwelling given for residential purpose, but the recipient is unregistered. I am an individual. I am giving it out to my friend. He is unregistered, small businessman, and मैंने अपना घर 10,000 किराए में उनको दिया है. So nothing like, I'm also hardly till 20 lakhs. So registration of GST is anyways not there. You all know. And those 8 states, it is 10 lakhs limit. So I am unregistered, renting of residential dwelling where the recipient is unregistered, and I have given it for resident purpose. It is exempt. Resident dwelling given, recipient is unregistered, but you have given it for commercial purpose. अब ये कैसे possible है मैम? Resident dwelling है तो resident ही होगा? बिल्कुल नहीं. In apartments there are all resident, but first floor we have given to a sari showroom, second floor we have given to a parlor, third floor one part we have given to a software company. होता है ना? Apartment में, flats में, offices are running. So resident dwelling given for commercial purpose and service recipient is registered. You are registered, no? Pay the tax at RCM. You are unregistered, no? I will have to pay the tax with forward charge. ये सबसे difficult है digest करने के लिए. I am giving my resident dwelling. Why should I pay the tax on forward charge? Why should I charge the GST and pay to government? Because I have given it for commercial purpose. If you feel that all this is quite confusing, to simple rakho. Resident, exempt, commercial, taxable. Problem is where this is crossing. So services by फिर से एक बार resident given for residential purpose, घर रहने के लिए दे रहे, recipient is registered, taxable with RCM. Ma'am, but I'm giving residence for residential purpose. Okay, but the recipient is registered, no? Let him pay the tax on RCM. Resident dwelling given for residential purpose, but the resident is unregistered and I'm also unregistered. Exempt. बात ही खत्म. Resident is given for commercial purpose. Commercial to commercial taxable. Resident to commercial 100% taxable. Both the cases. If the service recipient is registered, or I've given you for commercial purpose, you are registered, you pay the tax. Acha, you are not registered, but you are using it commercially, I will pay the tax. I mean, I will pay the tax means I will charge and pay to government and routine, forward charge. FCM is forward charge mechanism. RCM is reverse charge mechanism. Nice, clear or not? Just within 1 more week, surely the second video will also be uploaded. I want you all first to sync this much. Please don't watch 2 videos at a time. Even if you find it in my YouTube. मत करो. मैंने उसको होल्ड पे ही रखा है कि ये रिकॉर्डेड है बट अभी नहीं डालना. चलो. पहले ये रिपीट करो बार बार तो it will be clear to all of you. Service by way of renting of residential dwelling for use as resident is exempt except where the residential dwelling is rented to a registered purpose. If the recipient is registered, let him pay the tax on RCM. If he is unregistered, then if you are using for resident, exempt. If you are unregistered but you are using it for commercial, it has to be taxable by hook or crook. Then I will pay the tax on forward charge. Okay? I hope this is clear. Please comment below. Do you need some more flow chart also? Or this table is making it all very clear with this A wala example. Just as you know, resident, if you want to write down. Resident to resident, exempt. Commercial to commercial, exempt. Problem is resident to commercial, up taxable hoga. Now taxable. If the service recipient is registered, I can make flowcharts, but ye aise hi padna hai. You make the flowchart, no, dear students. Why everything should be given feed it, dear students? Trust me, I'm telling you as a teacher, what not we can give ready, but it will not help you. Resident to exempt, commercial to exempt. Problem is when resident is given for commercial, it has to be taxable. If service recipient is registered, RCM. If service recipient is unregistered, then it is forward charge. Up the last one. Resident is given for resident. Recipient is unregistered, exempt. Recipient is registered, he will pay the tax on RCM. ये भी एक flow chart हो गया और ये भी हो गया, whatever way. And my bad writing is a boon for students. They say they pause the video, they are so attentive to what I say and they write it. This is the feedback coming from the regular class. That doesn't mean I should write so bad. Chalo. Next one is very beautiful exemption. We all know that transport of passengers, generally, air tickets and all is liable to GST. But we already know, I told you, what I'm teaching right now is existing exemption is there. Usme change. What was the change here? Resident for resident, but if the service recipient is registered, pay the tax. Resident to commercial, if you are registered, pay the tax, or I will registered, pay the. Yeah, I do. Transport of passengers who are embarking in the airport located in the state of Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, Tripura. So these 8 states which are fixed, and Bagdogra, that is the stay what do you say, airport when we go to Darjeeling and Sikkim and all those places located in West Bengal. So until now, on these airfare to these states, flights going to these states, GST was not chargeable. Now, from now onwards, economy class air ticket to these states, no GST. Business class, commercial class, very well liable to GST. Business class is luxury ना, तो जहाँ luxury है वहाँ tax pay करो. आप अच्छा earn करते हैं, आप surcharge pay करो. Goods compensation cess pay कर रहे हैं हम. Clear? Small change. That's why I've given it in bold. All air flight tickets from to these 8 states plus Bagdogra airport are exempt if they are economy class airfare. If it is business class, taxable. Services by way of transport by rail or vessel from one place in India to another is exempt in these cases. Pehle se. Only from now this will become taxable. Relief material. Whenever there is a flood, or like there was a flood in Uttarakhand. So Chennai say railway mein ja raha hai pura material to Uttarakhand. Or there was an earthquake in Gujarat. So from whole India, the relief material is going to Gujarat. On that train, goods train and all, whatever, GST nahi lagega. Defense material transport, no GST. Newspaper and magazines, no GST. Agricultural प्रोडक्ट्स दिस मस्ट बी, शायद कुछ प्रिंटिंग मिस्टेक है यहाँ. एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोडक्ट्स नहीं लगेगा. मिल्क, सॉल्ट, फूड ग्रेन, पल्सेस एंड ऑल नहीं लगेगा. ऑर्गेनिक मैन्योर एग्जेम्प्ट. सो ऑल दीज आर द goods on which transport of which through railway and vessel GST is not levied. Until now, railway equipment, coaches and locomotives and all that was also exempt, but now it is taxable. So through railways, excuse me, through railways, if you are providing railway equipments, it is now taxable. Exemption is removed. Okay. Services provided by goods transport agency. You all know transporters, they were getting lot of benefit. तो कितने there were cases wherein transporters will not pay, and on RCM the factory or the firm will pay. So there are 3 major amendments here. This is also important. It's not that ma'am हम सिर्फ important पढ़ेंगे, but ये जो rent वाला है is important, and this one is also important. You remember till last year in your exemption some limits were there for hotels, for charitable trust, TTD and all, per day function ceremony up to. So there are a lot of limits given in the exemptions chapter. So one of the limit given for GTA was that if there is transport of goods, okay, on consignment transport in a single carriage, up to 1500 it was exempt. Now that is removed and it has become taxable. Single carriage up to 1500 tak exempt tha, ab pura taxable hai. Single carriage 500 rupees also taxable. Another was single consignee. If I am sending all the goods from me consigner to a single consignee, up to 750 rupees. इसका कोई मतलब नहीं है ना. We all know how the freight rates are. So these are all removed, and now from scratch GTA service is very well liable to GST. Forward or RCM, both options are there. I'll tell you that in third amendment, but ये तो clear है that GTA single carriage up to 1500, that limit is deleted. So if you are using the old material, just scratch that exemption. वो करना पड़ेगा. Pause करो, scratch it. Or wait, if you're writing in November, after June, fresh PDF I will send you, and I will teach the whole exemptions again along with solid good problems. Chalo. And I normally say to students, please, after learning right from the basic chapter, then the supply, then the chargeability, third chapter. Skip exemption and go to the fourth chapter. Exemption, sorry, fourth chapters को skip करो. Value of supply, time of supply, and your question number 1 is always based on ITC, input tax credit and block. तो वो सब पहले करो. And then procedural part is very easy to score. 5 marks, 2 good questions are asked on QR code and returns and documents and e-ledgers. So वो ना procedural part है. Just read and keep, you will not forget it. Last, when you finish everything, come to exemptions chapter. As I always say. Because exemption is not difficult, but itna vast hai na, so we get lost in that. So that's why I'm being very honest with you. Whenever you are doing GST, first complete your first 3 chapters, skip the 4th chapter, right from 5th, complete till end, come back and do exemptions. You'll do it faster. Chalo. So these two limits are removed. Now they are taxable. Next is GTA can pay GST under forward charge, 12% with input tax credit or 5% without the input tax credit from this year. See, until now, ये ना थोड़ा सा मुझे बताना. Until now, it was that from GTA, if the service recipient is a factory or a company or a society or as if all those cases, then GTA will not pay the GST. GST is payable by service recipient on the RCA. Now, from this year, what did they say? GTA can pay GST on FCM, forward charge, 12% by availing ITC. If GTA is paying GST by 12% routine, then whatever services GTA has availed, can they claim input tax credit? Yes. No, ma'am, GTA adhe item ke to bills are only not available. Forget about claiming the ITC. Directly, can the GTA pay 5%? Answer is yes. I want to repeat everything what I said. Listen carefully. Is my speed fine or not? If you comment below the video, I'll come to know for my second part also. इसका तो हो गया second part, but all tax liability के जो भी your direct tax के, or there will be 2-3 good amendment lectures specifically for working out the problems of TDS amendments, updated return. So let me know always कि you are comfortable or not this way of learning. चलो फिर से एक बार. GTA per consignee 750 limit gone. Per goods carriage 1500 limit gone. GTA, either factory and other service recipient can pay the tax on RCA. GTA, you can pay the tax on FCM at the rate of 12%. Take ITC. Without ITC, just pay 5% and done. Clear or not? Of course, they have to satisfy some other conditions also along with this. ठीक है, तो वो भी देख लेते हैं एक बार क्या क्या conditions हैं. If GTA opts to pay forward charge, following conditions, but GTA has taken registration under CGST Act and exercised the option to pay tax on service of GTA under forward charge. GTA has issued a tax invoice to the recipient charging GST at applicable rate, and has made a declaration in the prescript. So, they are giving all the options and invoice and forward charge. All documentation should be proper. Next. Services by way of storage or warehousing. Lot of storage and warehousing related to food items, agricultural produce was exempt earlier. It was a big list. Now only 4 basic items, essential food items are exempt, remaining all are taxable. ये देखो. Storage and warehouse of cereals, pulses, fruits, exempt. Remaining all the services are liable to GST now. Nuts, vegetables, spices, copra, sugarcane, jaggery, raw vegetable fibers such as cotton, flax, jutes, etc. Unmanufactured tobacco, betel leaves. ये सब याद नहीं करना है, just simple list. So all the other items, if you are storing in a warehouse, on that storage rent, GST is liable, except cereals, pulses, fruits, which are exempt. Next is When we are doing related to agriculture, next one, services by way of fumigation in a warehouse is removed. Fumigation is putting pesticides and all. Still, fumigation in the farm is exempt. We call from outside people who will bring those bottles and sprays, and they will spray all pesticides in the farm. On that service, GST is not there. So fumigation in farms, exempt. But if this is fumigation is in the warehouse, it is very well taxable. This is removed from exemption and taxable now. Clear? Next, services related to healthcare. Healthcare, may I have given you little extra just for you all to remember. Clinical establishment and other healthcare related services, they are all exempt, including yoga and all. But if the exemption, if it is a case of room rent above 5,000, now it is taxable, it is still exempt. Now, okay, I'll read it pura ek baar. Healthcare services provided by clinical establishment are exempt. The scope of healthcare services include diagnosis, treatment, care, and all. Hence, any room rent, charges recovered by any clinical establishment were fully exempt since they were considered to be healthcare services. Now, exemption is available. See, in health sector, under clinical what are clinical establishments? It's a hi-fi name for what? Write down. Are you all having printout or not all this? Clinical establishment is a hi-fi name, dear students, for hospitals. So room rent was completely exempt. Now it is exempt if the room rent is up to 5,000 per day. If it is 6,000, it's not ki 5,000 tak exempt hai. Fully taxable. I want you all to write this. थोड़ा 3D 5D मेकअप आपको भी करना पड़ेगा. Live makeup classes going on. If it is 6,000, fully taxable. 5,000 का कोई relief नहीं मिलेगा आपको. Even if the room rent is above 5,000, still the rent is exempt right now for ICU, CCU, ICCU, NICU without any upper limit. अब इनकी full form intensive care unit और वो सबको मालूम है, neonatal care unit and all. So for ICU and all, sometimes because the patient is on ventilator and all, per day the room rent charges are 10,000, 25,000, 30,000. On that, no GST. But after the patient is shifted from ICU to room, if the room rent is up to 5,000, no GST. Above 5,000, on full, GST is going to be levied. Clear or not? Services related to health sector. Okay. Now, service by Department of Post by way of postcard. Postal services, so I really want to talk orally. See, there were some services, basic postal services, money order, it was exempt till last year. And taxable was express courier service or agency related service like post office if they are doing this passport work and all those cases. Right now onwards, all the postal services are taxable except small post, the weight of which is 10 grams. Finished. Over and out. Clear or not? That's why I'm saying post office wale problem ka answer change ho jayega. Post office service, earlier, everything was exempt except speed post, courier, agency related services like that. Baki basic and money transfers and all were exempt. Now all the postal services are taxable except those small posts which are weighing 10 grams. So I think this is a very nice question for your upcoming exam for MCQs. अच्छा है, इसको mark करो. 3 things until now I have told. This rent wala and one more which I feel are important. Services by Department of Post by way of postcard, inland letter, letter post, ordinary post, weighing up to 10 grams are exempt. All the other postal services like speed post, agency and all are taxable. ठीक है? Tour operators. Okay. Lot of discussion is there for here for tour operators. इसको कर लेते हैं साथ में. Tour operators service supplied by tour operators to foreign tourists. You all know foreign tourists who are not resident of India. They come on visa on arrival and all that, and they visit and they go. So if you have given tour related service to a foreign tourist, which is performed wholly outside India, it is exempt, no problem. Sitting in India, you have arranged a tour for your customer in Switzerland for going to Turkey. So it is exempt, no problem, because you are providing the service to a foreign tourist, and service is also outside India, तो India को कोई लेना देना ही नहीं है. But if it is performed partly in India and partly outside, then to the extent of value of the tour operator service which is performed outside India is exempt. If you are a tour operator, you are arranging trip of 10 days for a person, 3 days in India and 7 days in other country, then whatever is 7 days is in other country, proportionate value of that fees what you have charged is exempt. On that GST won't be charged. ठीक है? Until now, how it was? Foreign tourists, no, everything was exempt. But now the foreign tourists are getting, I am a registered person in India, and the foreign tourist ko I am rendering the Taj Mahal ka service in India. So it should be liable to GST, no? And along with that, if I have told him 7 wonders mein Taj Mahal ke saath India ke bahar also we will take. So those services outside India are not taxable. However, the value of tour operator service performed outside India shall be exempt, lower of the two. Now, two conditions they have put up. Proportion of total consideration charged for the entire tour 10 days, which equal to the proportion which number of days for which tour is performed outside India has to the total number of days comprising the tour. So whatever is performed outside India, suppose 3 days in India, 7 days outside India, then what will be exempt? 7 by 10. Pause and write down this example. 3 days in India, 7 days outside India, total 10 days. How many days proportionate service will be exempt? 7 by 10. Or maximum exempt is 50% of the consideration, whichever is lower. Agar proportion karne mein you get more than 50% won't be exempt in GST under this chapter 4. फिर से tour operator giving service to foreign tourist for travel outside India, completely exempt. Tour operator Indian giving service to foreign tourist, partly in India, partly outside India. Whatever proportion he has given outside India is exempt subject to 50% of the total consideration. Above that, it will not be exempt. So for that, one more point they have given, any duration of time more than 12 hours is full day and below 12 hours is 0.5 day. 3 hours, 4 hours, that will all be like 0.5 days. Okay. So, tour of 5 days. Suppose this tour is of 5 days, 3 days in India, 2 days in Sweden. And the consideration charged is 50,000. So 50,000 ka 50%. 25,000 say it cannot exceed. And now 50,000, 2 days in Sweden, outside India by 5. Total 5 days. 20,000 is exempt. Whatever service is rendered outside India is exempt, whichever is lower. So lower is 20,000 is exempt. Out of 50, 20 is exempt, 30,000 is taxable. Next, tour of 5 days, 2 days in India, 3 days in Sweden. Okay, so how much will be exempt? 50,000 into 3 by 5, 30,000. But maximum exemption is 50%. But ma'am, 3 days is 30,000. But limit is 50,000% of the consideration से ज़्यादा exemption नहीं मिलेगा. So out of 50, exemption is 25, taxable is 25. Next, tour of 5.5 days. 2.5 days in India, 3 days in Sweden. So 50,000 into 3 by 5.5 total number of days. Exempt is how much? 27. But again upper limit kitna? 25,000. So here it will be like 25,000 will be exempt and 25,000 will be taxable. Clear to all of you? Check the example and if you have any doubt, ask me. Pucho. Clear? Next, service by way of transportation of goods by an aircraft or vessel from custom station. हाँ ये अभी तक exempt था. Aircraft or vessel from custom station of clearance in India to a place outside India. Transportation of goods by aircraft, okay, or waterways from the custom station in India to the place outside India. It was exempt up to 30th September 2022, middle of the year. After that, this date is not extended. So this exemption is removed and now this has become taxable. I told you some new exemptions have been added, and that is services by way of granting of national permit to a goods carriage. Okay, it is exempt now onwards. Sorry, I said reverse that time. Exemption add हुआ है, मतलब आज से ये exempt होगा. If you are giving permission to a vehicle for national permit, then for taking the permission, whatever charges they are paying, okay, that is exempt now. So it is added on in the list of exemptions. One more small change is services related to culture, art, sports. You all remember? If it is Hindustan classical cultural programs and all, it is exempt. Rock band and all the programs, huh? Those Vidya Walks and all coming to India and doing programs, very well liable to GST. So, culture, art, sports, and all related programs and all are exempt provided these recreation activities relating to art and culture are rendered by individual. If this art and culture is rendered by a partnership firm, company, group of singers, musicians, it's a private company and they are giving Hindustan classical performance, GST is going to be chargeable. So art and culture related services are exempt if the service provider is individual. If you want, add on over here, service provider is individual. Sports by charitable entities under 12A, वो तो exempt ही है, charitable trust जो करते हैं. This is just given to complete because this is always given together. You know one thing, when I said कि hotel का अब जो rent होगा वो पूरा taxable होगा, did I miss out? वो point रह गया है. However best you try, to be honest, अगर एक भी चीज छूट गया ना, I will put it in the comment and I'll make one more video. It's a promise. 1,000 rupees वाला एक पॉइंट था, वो मुझे मिल नहीं रहा है. You remember that hotel ka rent up to 1,000 was exempt? Add on that, no? I will note it to be added and I'll note it now also. 1 second. It takes lot of time to assemble all this and add on. It's a very simple point about hotel. Yeah, please write down. I'll correct it in the material and then again replace it in the Telegram groups. Yeah, please come here. What I'm making you write is in these exemptions added is, there was hotel room rent which was exempt up to rupees 1000. This is removed. होटल का रूम रेंट अप टू 1000 exempt था. Yeah, these all the amendments are prepared in the sequence of our material only, and my material is in the sequence of the institute's material, so that amendment should not confuse you. As it's not from the institute, but as the institute is maintaining the sequence, that's the same sequence in our material, so you can just do the corrections in our material very easily with this. So hotels and all up to 1000 rupees तक ना exempt था, ये remove हो गया है. ये 1000 limit is still continuing for that charitable trust TTD temple. If I go to Tirupati and if I take a room on 700 rupees rent, I don't have to pay GST. So for the room rent, charitable trust and all, it is same, but otherwise hotels and guest houses and all up to 1000, that limit is removed. Clear to all of you? Sure, I will add it over here as 13th point, and then I will again upload this in the app as well as in our Telegram group. ठीक है? चलो. Next. So we have completed with all the exemptions which are changing. Now exemptions which are withdrawn. So if these exemptions is a list in your chapter 4, just go on scratching it. Services. अरे आ गया ना? नीचे पढ़ा ही नहीं मैंने. Services by hotel, inn, guest house, club, campsite by whatever name called for residential or lodging purpose having value of supply of unit below or equal to 1000 per day is taxable. Now it's exempt. I want all of you to write here, still exempt for trust. In trust and all the cases, it is still exempt. Okay. Next, services by RBI are not exempt. RBI services are also liable to GST. Services by IRDA Act, Insurance Regulatory Development Authority Act. They approve all the insurance companies and their URR they check. So whatever services IRDA is giving, it's now liable to GST. Services by SEBI is liable to GST. Services of leasing of assets, by Indian Railway Finance Corporation to Indian Railways, taxable. I think these are very simple, no explanation is required. Services by FSSI, वो egg mark और वो सब जो भी है, ISI जो भी food mark जो करते हैं ना, so whatever testing and food samples and all service they give, it's all taxable. Services provided by GST and network to the central government or state government or union territory for implementation of the GST, they are going to charge tax. GST network जो पोर्टल है ना, वो जो सर्विस दे रहा है उस पे भी GST लगेगा. Services by way of fumigation in the warehouse, it's now taxable. There's a list of what is all taxable. Services by way of slaughtering of animals, taxable. Services by cord blood bank. If you want, you can write here healthcare. आपका जो हेल्थ केयर का लिस्ट है ना, वहां these two services are there, just go and scratch it. Cord blood bank, very well taxable, and biodegradable waste facility to clinical establishment, hospitals and all, whoever is providing it has become now taxable. Now some clarifications, that these are like clarifications are like circulars. Act changes are over in chapter 4. Now it is circulars, and that circular is saying that whether this is exempt or taxable. I'm reading it quickly. This is the last one we will complete, and then third chapter also we have to take one change. Tired? ब्रेक लिए तो पूरा ब्रेक हो जाएगा. कर लेते हैं कंटिन्यूएशन में. अच्छे हैं। मैम ये क्लेरिफिकेशंस क्यों इम्पोर्टेंट है? आई नो यू ऑल आर स्टडिंग फुल इनकम टैक्स फॉर 50 मार्क्स, नाउ दिस जीएसटी फॉर 50, और अब आप बोलोगे मैम एक्ट पढ़ाओ, रूल्स पढ़ाओ, एग्जेम्पशंस पढ़ाओ, और अब सर्क्यूलर भी पढ़ाओ। सर्क्यूलर का जो the gist point is there, no dear students, just remember that for objective questions, just exam point of view they are important. Just I have the way I have written, just I'm sharing again. It's I have written in the highlights only ki whether they are taxable or not. Let us take the first one. Just on supply of food in Anganwadis and school. You all know if the school is giving the catering service to the students along with the school fees, the transport, on that GST is not chargeable. So if this same food is provided by Anganwadis are those lab schools, where teachers training goes on, it's different. कोई uniform नहीं रहता है. So these Anganwadis are a kind of school, and if they provide the food to the children, it is very well covered under catering service to the education institute, and hence it is exempt. Okay, if I am not reading word to word, आप जरूर पढ़ना. Any doubt is there, comment below the video or join our Telegram group. The best benefit is Telegram is they are clicking the photo and sending and clearing their doubts in WhatsApp. WhatsApp what? Voice notes. Chalo. Just on overloading charges at toll. All the tolls now we are using those fast tags and it is scanned and all, no payment of the toll charges. Sometimes if balance is not there or the fast tag is not working and all, on the toll charges I need to pay overloading charges. Toll charges so I'm paying, but they have charges, overloading charges, because fast tag is not there and it is mandatory and all. So will the GSTs be chargeable on all? Answer is yes. Toll charges पे तो लगेगा, overload charges पे भी GST is payable. Yeah. Therefore, it is clarified additional fee collected in the form of toll charges is essential payment of toll only, and hence it is liable to GST. Applicability of GST on application fees for entrance of fees charged for issuance of eligibility certificate for admission or for issuance of migration certificate. See, along with education, many schools are helping out on preparation of entrances for IITs and all that. And many schools, they charge extra for giving you the immigration certificate when you are going from Telangana to Maharashtra and all these. So for all these services, whatever money they are collecting, is it liable to GST? Answer is no, it is exempt. I'm telling you the clarifications are just simple, just remember the gist enough. मैम फिर आपने क्यों इतने पॉइंट्स दिए हैं? पूरा बैकग्राउंड तो मालूम होना चाहिए ना. All service supplied by educational institute to students are exempt. I told you catering, transport, all. Consideration for education institute by entrance fees for conduct of entrance exam. Exemption will cover fees charged for admission, entrance exam, all, or by way of issuing of migration certificate for leaving there, all exempt. Application of GST on transport of minerals. This is like a story. From mining pit to the railway siding, beneficiation plant, etc. by vehicles deployed with driver for a specific duration. Super. Mine से truckloads आते हैं railway station तक, where they are loaded with the goods train. Followed or not? So these trucks, along with drivers, I am providing to the miner. Is it a taxable service? Answer is yes. GTA हो गया ना? As I am giving, in fact, ये GTA भी नहीं है. This is like renting of vehicle, and renting of vehicle is very well taxable. Renting of trucks and other freight vehicles with driver for a period of time is a service of renting of transport vehicle with operator and not service of transportation. This is not GTA ki RCM and ma'am आपने अभी तो पढ़ाया. I'm not giving you transport service. I'm just providing you ये रहे vehicles. These are the drivers. Get the work done. It is not eligible for exemption under entry 18, which exempts transport of goods by road except GTA. Entry 18 is saying transport of goods by road is exempt, except if it is GTA, he will pay the tax or the service recipient. But this is not exempt. Okay. GST on payment of honorarium to the guest anchors. The TV shows and all, normally they have their own anchors, but sometimes they call guest anchors when it is time of election or some major, something is going on. So those kind of guest anchors, whatever service they are giving to the TV company, is it liable to GST? Yes. Provided if the guest anchor is below 20 lakhs, to nahi lagega. TV channels invite guest lectures. Yes or not? ETV is inviting good speakers and MDs and chairmen, and against that they pay remuneration. It is clarified that this is taxable. It's a taxable service or GST लगेगा. पढ़ लेना. GST on service in the form of ART and IVF. This is like artificially child are born and all those services. I have given more detail because this way of procedure, whatever they follow for IVF and all, this is a part of the clinical establishment. It's a part of hospital procedure. Now you can say, ma'am, बायोडिग्रेड जो कचरा निकलता है उसका डिस्पोजेबल भी तो हॉस्पिटल का है. That's being done by third party and it's not exempt. But if inside the hospital, along with other treatment, if they are doing IVF treatment, now what is IVF treatment and all I have given in these details if you want to read. So this is very well covered because all injury related services, pregnancy, all are covered in clinical establishment, and IVF is a part of pregnancy. So very well, these services are exempt. No GST will be charged. हाँ, but fancy जो surgeries होती है ना, hair transplant, plastic surgeries, they are taxable. I think I must have written also. ये देखो, hair transplant and plastic services यहाँ पे लिखो, ये taxable है. But IVF and all is not taxable. Please read the full points. GST on sale of after laying down drainage lines, etc. Okay. If you sell the plot, sale of land is not covered by GST. But if you buy a plot, you break it into 10 parts, you provide roads and sewerage and drainage, and you sell individual one tenth part as small plot. This is a very common thing. Have you seen in the outskirts of city? They buy a huge plot, they break it and they sell off the small plots. So even if they sell it after drainage and all facility, it's still a sale of open plot land. It is exempt, not liable to GST. Pause the video after my explanation. Read this now, please. It's very difficult for me to read and teach in income tax also and in GST. हाँ, मैंने रीड एंड टीच किया, वो लॉ वाला रेफ्रेनिंग टॉलरेटिंग वो किया ना. Sale of land is neither a supply of goods nor a supply of service, hence it's not liable to GST. Land may be sold either as it is or after some development. It is finally the sale of land, so not taxable. Clarification regarding hiring of vehicles by firm for transport of employees to and fro. Frankly speaking, if they hire the vehicles, cabs and all for transport to and fro, it is taxable. But if they are hiring non-AC vehicle for a fixed period, for a fixed route, for a fixed destination, that okay, this non-AC bus will start from A, it will go to B, C, D and reach the office, wahan se वापस, then it is exempt. I again want to repeat. Office is hiring 10 AC cabs from Ola, Uber for transport of their employees to and fro. Very well taxable. Radio cabs and all are taxable. But if the companies or firms have hired non-AC vehicle, so non-AC vehicles are otherwise also exempt for transport. हम routine जो bus service है उस पे कहाँ GST लगाते हैं, तो this is exempt. Issue arose, consideration was to whether the engagement of non-AC contract for transport of employees is exempt of transport with or without accompanied by non-AC other than radio cab is exempt, and it should exclude tourism and all very well taxable. Said exemption would apply to passengers by non-AC carriage where transportation takes place. This point is important. Over a predetermined route on a predetermined schedule. It's not कि okay, take the non-AC bus, picnic पे जाओ, इधर करो, जो करना है करो. No, then it will become taxable. But if the non-AC buses are provided, or buses or whatever vehicles are provided for a predetermined route and schedule for conveyance, it is exempt. And if it is AC, very well taxable. The exemption not be applicable where contract carriage is hired for a period of time. We are hiring this vehicle for 6 months. Then it is taxable. We are hiring this vehicle for this route and this schedule. इसके अलावा हम कोई use नहीं करेंगे vehicle का. Then exempt. Followed or not, I think we'll have to read it 2-3 times. And always I'm saying, if these transport services are for tourist purpose, they take us from Sri Salem in a boat and they help us visit all those क्या कहते हैं उसको, fort or cave और वो सब दिखा के वापस लेके आते हैं. All these ferries and all very well taxable. See, one very nice conflict again. Clarification regarding applicable of GST on tickets of private ferry for passenger transport, not taxable. Ma'am, private ferry है. Ferry private है या public है? But service क्या है? Transport, passenger transport from one place to another. Do you see this in Goa, Kerala, Varanasi, Banaras, Kolkata? Inland waterways are there. So even if that waterways is run not by public transport, but it is private, contractor ko de diya ki from North Goa to South Goa, you run these vehicles. But they are just doing the transport. It is exempt. If they do tourism with food, beverages, music, in Tangment we have those boats, Bhagirathi and all, jahan pure cultural programs chalte hain, dinners are served, shikaras are there in Kashmir and all these are very well taxable because they come under tourism. So for public transport, even if private transport is used and it's not a public transport used exemption means that transport should be open to public. Koi bhi aao, koi bhi jao. It can be privately or publicly owned. The service provider, if you want, you can write here. Service provider can be public transport company or private. No problem. But what is the purpose? Just passenger transportation within India. ठीक है? Oh, cruise and all, very well taxable. Mumbai to Goa. There's a cruise started in Banaras also. Very well, all this is taxable. It was a challenge. I was thinking that exemptions is the one chapter which I should take in the second part. But the reason of taking it first part is koi bhi doubt hai pucho. I will surely again clarify in the next video, which is done. Add-ons hamesha ho sakte hain. Koi problem nahi. Chalo. And last one for today now, chapter 3, charges of GST. You all know GST limit for registration 20 lakh, 10 lakhs and all. And those who want to go for composition, section 10, जो composition में जाना चाहते हैं, for them the specified states the limit is 75 lakhs and for remaining states the limit is 150 lakhs. So this limit is reduced to 40 lakhs if you want to go for composition scheme and you are just a manufacturer and you want to go for composition scheme, then the limit is 40 lakhs. Okay, so already product covered are ice cream, edible ice, pan masala, tobacco, FC. These are all luxury goods. But if you are just a manufacturer of these goods and if you want to go for composition, the rates and all are given in your material. याद है आपको 0.5%, 2% and all. Added in this is fly ash bricks, blocks, building blocks, ईंटे, earthen rolling tiles and all. Ma'am, this was added last year only. But last year there was a condition that these will be these manufacturing of these product can also go for composition provided minimum 90% or some conditions, that is done away with, scratch it. So now, who are the manufacturers, okay, who can go for composition if the turnover exceeds 40 lakhs, okay? Ice creams and edible oils, pan masalas, tobacco, aerated waters, and the last one is fly ash bricks, which is added. So here we complete with the revision of the first part of the GST. Do watch 2 tax amendment videos of direct taxes also. If you have anywhere any doubt, you can put comment below. And if you understand this with lot of clarity and with the examples or with background, already ye tha, ab ye hai, if it is clear, comment below. Do share this video with at least 5 of your friends whom you think concept. It's a challenge. If you watch the 1 minute shorts which I have prepared to clarify STT, this, that, it's going to clear. And marathon lectures are already there. Along with marathon, if you watch these tax amendment, it will cover up your concepts. Practice, you all need to do it. And I feel if you have got last time 100, 120 marks, this is my personal suggestion. Take systematic coaching. YouTube video is good only for revision. But if your concepts are only not clear, if your pen is not flowing, why you are taking the risk of delaying your degree by 6 months? Take proper coaching, take offline coaching, if not, take online videos, study from that systematically and write exam. That's what one thing is missing nowadays. Okay? Thank you so much for watching the video till end. All the best to all of you. And if you feel these videos are helpful, subscribe the channel, hit the bell icon so that next GST Amendment Lecture 2 is uploaded and you get it. Yeah. In the description, Telegram link is there. Just scroll up. You will get all this PDF material over there. All the best. Thank you. Bye-bye.